Welcome to the Ducati Talent Talk. I'm Simone Di Piazza, and I'm Head of Innovation and R&D Services in Ducati. Let me quickly introduce myself to you. I'm a mechanical engineer, as you see. I graduated at the University of Bologna many years ago, and I started working in Ducati as soon as I graduated. I was very lucky. I started as a structural analyst and then moved to simulation department, head of simulation department, and then I've been head of chassis and design, head of chassis design department for 13 years, so many years. And at the end of 2019, I moved to innovation, which means pre-development. So my job now is to look for new ideas, new topics, both on chassis, engine, and electronics, and to run pre-development projects in order to assess the feasibility of those technologies and ideas before using them on the product for production. During this talk, I would like to guide you through those chapters of my very short presentation regarding the world of Ducati. So we will start having a very quick look at the history of Ducati. Then we will go through the features that distinguish Ducati and a very quick overview on the model range. Of course, there's a chapter dedicated to racing, some numbers just to give you an idea of the dimension and of the business of Ducati, and then final remarks. History. Maybe some of you know that Ducati started as an electronic company in 1926. It was founded in Bologna, very close to where Marconi invented the first radio. So this is why it was very important to run an electronic business in those times. Then, starting in 1946, we developed the very first engine, the so-called cucciolo, that was used in sort of bicycles more than motorcycles. And then I don't want to bother you with all the steps of our history, but some of them are very relevant for our story, like the introduction of desmodromic timing system, thanks to the work of our engineer Fabio Taglioni in 1954. And then coming to more recent years, some of the milestones that I want to mention are the fact that since 2012, we are part of a Volkswagen Group, directly controlled by Audi. And then, the other major steps of our history concern mainly racing. And we are very lucky to be world champion for the third time in MotoGP, and also last year also in Superbike and Supersport. So 2023 will be definitely a year to remember. But let's have a look at the vision of our company. The vision, as you can see here, is to be the most desirable motorcycle brand. And it's a very challenging task to fulfill. And coming back to some more detailed guideline on how to work, how we work in Ducati, let's have a look together to the mission of Ducati. The mission, as you can see, there are some words that are underlined. Those words are the most important ones. We would like to give people not only products, not only motorcycles, regardless the technology used for them, not only ICE or electric motorcycles, but we would like to provide people with emotions and exciting emotions, exciting experiences. And to do so, we rely on technology, of course, but we trust that also the style of our products is very important. And you will see that style is the first of our values. Style, sophistication, and performance. And it is not by chance that style is the first one. We always start our new projects from sketches, and we try to be as much close to the original sketches as possible when we do the so-called industrialization. of a new products. But let's have a closer look to those values. Style. Our style is recognized as very Italian flavor, let's say, and unique. And to do so, we have an internal design center, which is called Centro Stile. And there are a lot of designers coming from all over the world that work in Centro Stile, but they all share the same approach to design. And usually when we start a new product, we give the chance to more than one designer to do their own interpretation of the design brief. And then there is a sort of a challenge between among those designers in order to find out the best interpretation possible. Sophistication means ingenuity in a sense that we would like to introduce innovation and technology and sophisticated technology, not just because we would like to do show off of technology, but because it's thanks to technology that we can achieve the desired performance, especially in terms of lightness and sportiness. We are very famous. You have seen during the first slide that a lot of the milestones are related to red racing motorcycles, and this sportiness is something that is present in more or less all our products. Our positioning as a brand is premium, and premium means that we can have, let's say, a premium price with respect to our competitors. And but it is not only because we want to sell our brand, but it's because we can support this premium price thanks to the quality of our product, the features that we can provide to the final customer. And we would like also our new, very recently launched strategy is to move our brand even higher in an upper premium segment. We don't want to compete in terms of volumes, but on highly sophisticated products that can be positioned in a unique segment in which there are not so many competitors, to be honest. I've already said that our design is Italian and very unique, and the uniqueness comes from the fact that we use as a, let's say, mantra of our design center the phrase reduce to the max, which means we get rid of all the stuff that are not necessary, and doing so we end up with a design which is very clean, with no added features unless they are very relevant for some application or function. And also regarding our liveries, we work a lot on liveries, on paintings, on graphics in general, and they are not very complicated usually, but they are used to enhance the shape of our motorcycle more than to cover the shapes. Lightweight design. I've already mentioned that we work very hard to reach the ultimate lightness in our products, and to do so we don't work only on the main component of a bike like a frame or subframe, but also on very small single details that can seem to be not relevant, but they are. If you sum the small amount of grams saved on each screw, for example, you will end up in a weight saving which is very relevant on the overall weight of the bike. Moreover, again, I'm mentioning the innovation as a way of achieving the lightweight design that we would like to have in all of our products. High quality, every part is designed and developed together with the suppliers, in order to provide the highest quality possible. Maybe you know that in Ducati we design more or less all the components of our motorcycle, but we rely on suppliers, external suppliers, for the manufacturing. And this is a very big challenge. We have a dedicated department, which is part of a so-called R&D services, which is composed of people, experts in the process technologies that you use to manufacture our parts, and they are the so-called interface between the designers and the suppliers. So we do not design the toolings that we use to manufacture our parts, but we define the specification and we check that the toolings designed by the suppliers are capable of providing the required specs. This is a huge effort that we put in place in order to provide the highest quality. Performance redefined means that we don't want just to achieve the maximum power, maximum torque, but also to achieve other KPIs related more to comfort and safety also, which are again performance, but not in the most simple way of meaning the performance is not just lap times, but also comfort for passenger and riders, and thermal comfort and all the let's say quality that a motorcycle should have to give the final customer a good experience in the usage. And last but not least, as I already mentioned, sportiness is something that is inside the Ducati DNA. And the reason for that is that we have, you know very well, a racing department, which is very close to the production department. We work together with the racing department guys in both ways. For example, the MotoGP, they are prototypes, so they are not derived from production motorcycles. So in that case, we use Ducati Corse as an advanced research and development department. So we borrow some ideas from Ducati Corse and we modify those ideas in order to incorporate those technologies in the bikes that you can sell. In other projects like the Superbike, we work in the other way around. You know that Superbikes, the bike that compete in the World Superbike Championship, they are derived from the R version that are sold. And this is why when we start to develop a new hypersport bike, we collect the specification required by the Ducati Corse guys in order to build a motorcycle that can be developed and can be competitive also in the racing version that will be used for the World Superbike in the World Superbike Championship. Model range, very quickly. Just to give you an idea, we have 9 product families, and within each one of them there are a lot of versions. And you see that we missed this the hypermotard, a picture of the latest hypermotard single-cylinder engine, which was recently launched, but it will be put together with the hypermotard that you can see on the upper right of this chart. You have seen maybe that we are moving more and more towards the off-road applications. You see that there's a Desert X mentioned on the top left, and the reason for that is that our last goal was to have some grow some experience on off-road application in order to then be ready to compete in the motocross championship also. So not only on-road application, but also off-road application. And to do so, we started with products like the Desert X and the Desert X Rally that you will see very soon, that are more and more close to advanced or very sporty, let's say, off-road motorcycles. Ducati is not only made of products like motorcycle, but there's a full world of other topics around the motorcycle, and those topics are events, like for example the World Ducati Weekend that it will be in Misano at the end of July, and also Tribuna Ducati events during the MotoGP Championship. But also Ducati Owners Club. There are many of them all over the world. And academies like the road or racetrack or adventure academies that are intended to grow passion on our customers and build a sort of a community of people owning a Ducati and sharing the same passion for this brand. I mentioned that we are involved in the MotoGP championship. You know this very well, and this is our top rider, Pecco Bagnaia. And as I said, there's a strong connection between Ducati Corse and Ducati production department. And this is one of our strengths, I have to say. There are other brands that have racing departments, but we are proud to say that we exploit the experts that we have within the racing department also for non-racing application. And to give you, just to give you an example, you see in this picture that the aerodynamics of a MotoGP bike is advanced, very well developed, and we were the first to introduce such sophistication on aerodynamics on motorcycles. And the reason for that is that we have in Ducati Corse experts on computational fluid dynamics and also experimental aerodynamics, so wind tunnel testing. And we used their expertise in many occasions also for production bikes, like for example Multistrada. In Multistrada we developed the Multistrada before, we developed some features, aerodynamic feature used to improve the thermal comfort of the rider together with the guys of Ducati Corse. They help us to design and to simulate the effectiveness of those channels that are movable and adjustable in order to tune the amount of fresh air that the rider wants to against his legs, and finally we end up with a solution which is very effective, quite simple to be honest, but very effective, and that improves the thermal comfort and overall comfort of riding very much. And it was developed together with the experts of Ducati Corse. So this is just to mention that there's a close connection and a technology transfer between the two departments. I already mentioned the Superbike. Superbike is strictly related to the R version, which is available on the market. But of course, there are some modifications because the rules allow us to change some parts of the bikes, like, for example, fuel tank. Fuel tank is one of the main area that are customized to the rider, because it's the way in which the rider hangs to the motorcycle in a curve or hold himself while braking very hard. So at the beginning of each season, we use rapid prototyping a lot to simulate various shapes of the fuel tank. And finally, when we find the best shape which is perfectly suited for the rider. We put in production the shape, that shape, in order to manufacture the final fuel tank that will be used throughout the championship. But I want to mention also the Moto E. Maybe you know that since last year we started to manufacture the bike that are used in this competition that since last year is a world championship, a World Cup. And we start this project from scratch, from a white paper. We decided to challenge ourselves on the development of an electric motorcycle, starting from a racing application, because it was the one with the I'm going to say highest specification to be fulfilled. We had to negotiate the target of a project together with the organizer of the championship, Dorna, and they wanted us to manufacture a bike that was quicker and lighter than the previous one. And it was really a challenge, and to achieve this challenge, we had to apply some approaches to the design, like, for example, integration. And for integration, I mean that there are components in the Moto E that fulfill various functions at the same time. For example, the battery pack is not only a case that is filled up with cells, but is also the main part of a frame. You can imagine that being the battery pack a component that weighs half of a bike, of the weight of a full bike, 110 kilograms over an overall weight of 225 kilograms. It means that it is better not to put something around the battery pack as a frame, like in a standard approach to the design of a frame. Otherwise, you will end up with something which is very heavy. And so we decided to build a structural battery case made out of composite materials that acts like it was designed in order to provide the desired stiffness, both lateral stiffness and torsional stiffness. So the real frame is a very short casting, very small casting, aluminum casting, which is like a front frame. And all the rest is up to the battery case. And then also the engine, the electric motor, sorry, not the engine, the electric motor was designed in-house, and it incorporates many functions like supporting the rear suspension linkage and some other electronic components. And doing so, we end up with a bike which is capable of doing 7 to 8 laps on a standard racetrack at a pace which is quicker than the one of a Moto 3, which seems not such an amazing achievement, but in the end it is, because you have to imagine that the challenge was to find the good compromise between weight and range, but providing a lap time that was interesting for the people that got to see the race at the racetrack. And I mentioned that before, since this year, we developed also an off-road motorcycle, and we are competing in the Italian championship, but on 2025 we'll use the same bike also on the World Motocross Championship GP, Motocross GP class. And next year again, we will sell also motocross bikes to regular customers. So there will be a motocross in our product bike in our product line available to be purchased. Facts and figures. The headquarters of Ducati is in Bologna, in Borgo Panigale, but we have another assembly plant in Thailand. And the reason for that is that many years ago. It was founded, I think, in 2011. We decided to grow our market. And our approach to the globalization was not to manufacture or assembly motorcycle in low-cost countries and then export those bikes in the Western country. But on the contrary, was to build bikes in the market that we want to grow. That was the Asian market. Therefore, we built our first plant there, and it was 2011, I think, 2011. And recently, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, there was the opening of a new factory that was built, and which is bigger than the original one, and will be able to manufacture also engines. And so we will do a lot more manufacturing steps than the one that we do here in Borgo Panigale. But apart from that, we have also other service providers that work for us in Brazil and Argentina for the same reason, to manufacture motorcycles that are going to be sold in those areas of the world, South America. And on the bottom of this chart, you will see the so-called national sales companies. We have a lot of them in the most important markets, and they help us to manage the network of dealers that we have all over the world. We will see in a minute how many dealers we have, a lot. Those are the volumes that we sold in the past, starting from 2009, and you see that there was a big growth. Just to mention, one of the biggest steps was in 2015, thanks to the introduction of Ducati Scrambler. That was a very big success. Then you see a drop during the pandemic, of course, as usual. And last year, we saw a small reduction in volumes with respect to 2022 due to some countries that, and we will see it in a minute, that perform not so well as expected. And one of those countries was definitely China, which is facing since last year a big economic crisis. And maybe you have seen in the newspaper also passenger cars are affected from this crisis, and we were too, to be honest. You see here the distribution in terms of countries, the distribution of sales in terms of countries, and depending on the years, North America or Italy are the biggest country for us. So you see that there is a very small difference between the two, and they are followed by Germany and the rest of the world. And unfortunately, China is a very small percentage, and it was much bigger than that in the years before the pandemic. I mentioned that we have a lot of dealers around the world. These figures is continuously growing, so I'm not sure that is updated now, but we are selling in many countries around the world, and we have dealers, but also importers in the smallest countries. And even if we are selling bikes all over the world, our production is very seasonal. And in these days, we are in the peak of production for this year. And last week, I think it was last week, we manufacture like 366 motorcycles in a day, which is a lot. It's like a record figure for us. But we will reduce this number in the coming weeks, because the main percentage of our volumes are usually assembled, manufactured during the first months of the year. So basically in June or July, the rate of bikes per day will be much lower than that. Future challenges. Of course, as the automotive industry, we share some of the macro trends that are affecting passenger cars that are derived from a group strategy called Together 2025. So digitalization, urbanization, and sustainability. And being a part of the VW group, we put those pillars also in our strategy. But how to deal with those strategy? Basically with innovation, introducing innovations in order to cope with these requirements. And this is a very common picture that are always used to represent the way in which innovation is developed and put into production. I've added some words in order to give you a feeling of what are the constraints that reduce the number of innovation that can go in production. And those constraints are, of course, reliability. This is not avoidable, of course. Performance, those are targets, as I mentioned before. Costs, because, of course, you cannot build a bike made with very exotic features or materials, or at least you cannot do it always, all the time. To be honest, we have some very special products like the so-called Superleggera projects, where we can not get rid, but at least take into less consideration the constraints regarding costs and use the most advanced materials and technology in order to reach the top level performances. But this is just an exception. Usually, it's not the rule that you can avoid to take cost into consideration. And then on the top of this funnel, there are other constraints like safety, of course, and regulations that are becoming more and more challenging to be fulfilled, and of course, sustainability, as mentioned before. So, which are the sources of innovations that we rely on? But basically are those that are in this picture. So, we work very strictly with suppliers. They are the experts of the technologies, and so working together, we are experts in the application, they are experts in technologies. Working together, we can reach some synergy and provide some advancement or innovation that are shared, let's say. Some other innovation are coming from racing. I've already mentioned that some ideas that are used for some purpose in racing are then moved to production applications. And being part of the VW Group, we are so lucky to have available also some technology that was used in the automotive industries, and maybe due to our dimension as a company, would have not been applicable for our motorcycle unless we were part of the VW Group. So this is a big source of innovations. We work also with startups, but of course, when you work with startups, you have to develop a promising idea. So you will see the results of this work not very soon, but in a horizon which is bigger than the one of ideas coming, for example, from suppliers. And we work a lot with universities. We have developed some patents together with a university that are shared between Ducati and the university regarding strategies that are used, for example, in the radar that are present both on front and rear of our Multistrada V4. And I would like to close my presentation and leave some minutes for questions, mentioning where we collect the talents that will be part of our staff in the future. But mainly, Motorcycle University of Emilia-Romagna, we are founding members of MUNER, and this is a big source of talents for our company. And the reason for that is that because we developed a course of study which is called Advanced Motorcycle Engineering, that was tuned in order to give the students the right knowledge that will be used in the company. So, I mean, we build the courses adding topics that are very relevant for people who have to work in our company, like vibration mechanics, mechanical technology, dynamics in general, some flavor of electric vehicle design, and so on. And we have hired a lot of students or graduates coming from these courses because they are quickly ready to work and to provide results in our company, quicker than the other colleagues coming from standard courses of studies. And I'm proud to mention another very appreciated source of talents, which is the Unibo Motorsport team. We are supporting the team both on Moto Student Challenge and also Formula SAE. And this is a way of challenging yourself, participating to this competition, because students can understand what does it mean to run a project, having a budget, having some timeline, timing schedule, and to stick to, and to provide results and performances. And honestly, it's in my opinion, it's a very good way of mixing academic knowledge with industrial experience in a short way, and it's at least a simpler and shorter way as with respect to an industrial project, but it is very relevant, and we realize that it's a very challenging experience that gives the students a plus when they come into the industry to work. Final remarks. So I've said it already many times that innovation is the key, both on racing, application, and production. And innovation is not grow internally, not only grow internally in the company, but it is growth thanks to talents, suppliers, universities, and many other actors. This means that it is something very difficult, and because it involves people coming from various sources. The complexity of products is growing. You have seen that we are not only involved in the road application, but also electric motorcycle, off-road motorcycle, and also the complexity of regulations, the competition coming from companies, for example, located in China or in low-cost countries, is something that increase the fight that you have to do on a daily basis. And to work in such a demanding environment, we need excellent and passionate talents. And I've already mentioned some of the sources of those talents. Of course, passion is something that you need to have to work in such a demanding environment, because it's thanks to passion that you can provide the 10% more than the 100% in order to reach very valuable results. Usually, we like to work through internships in order to know the people that then we will hire. This is the best way, if compared to a standard interview, to know each other. Let's say we can have a better understanding of motivation and knowledge and competence of the students, and the students can understand if they like to work in Ducati, because it's again a very demanding environment. The internship available are published through Muner in the website, and the opening job position are published usually in the Ducati website, which is updated. So I invite you all to have a look at the chances or the projects that are offered both on internship and as an open job position. This is the end of my presentation, and I will thank you for the attention. And if you have any question, I'm fully available to answer. No. We offer opportunities for internship in general. Of course, the people coming from Muner, being founding member of Muner, they have a sort of a preferred path, let's say. But when we have projects, we accept students, passionate students coming from all university, also from abroad. We have also foreign students in some occasions. So yeah, it's open, definitely open.
I have a couple of questions. First one is a master's degree required to work?
Say it again.
Is a master degree required
to work in Ducati?
To work in Ducati as an engineer?
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is it possible to get working experience in more than one department? As in, if you get in Ducati, for example, to work in aerodynamics, can you move to structural design or other departments?
So a master degree is not mandatory. It depends on where you would like to do your internship, and it depends on the topic of a project related to this internship. And regarding the second question, of course, it is not so common that one during the internship visit more than one department, because usually the internship is related to a project. So we'll ask the student to help us to develop something, and therefore usually there's no chance that one can move from one department to the other, because it would mean that he will have to run more than one project at the same time. But it's not a rule. I mean, it is not common. If one can think of a project that can be handled by various departments, and he has got the competences to work in those departments, why not?
I have another one. I see that on your website, all of the positions opened are for road bikes, for the road bikes. What's the best path to get to the Ducati Corse department?
Honestly, there are also internships that are proposed by Ducati Corse guys. Maybe not now, but they also publish internship in the same way as the production departments. The best way, in my opinion, is to be so lucky to have the chance to be hired for an internship in Ducati Corse. Not that it is not possible to move from production to Corse. This is happening, and also in both ways, because our CEO, he believes a lot in the technology transfer and knowledge transfer between the two departments. Therefore, it is a common habit to switch people from one department to the other. And being the two departments so close to each other and working together on a daily basis, there's no wall or barrier. I mean, they are not. Ducati Corse is a division of Ducati Motor Holding. It's like a department, a big department. Even if it is independent, it's not like another company, which means that it is possible to, even if you start in production, to move to Ducati Corse or vice versa.
Thank you.
I'd like to know.
I'd like to know specifically which type of technology you can import from the MotoGP world to the Ducatis that you sell to common customers.
Mainly, there are strategies, like control strategies, that are used in MotoGP for improving lap time or performances in general, that can be tuned in order to be used for other reasons, like for improving safety or comfort. That is usually what you would like to have for example, on a touring bike. We were the first one to introduce a traction control, very advanced traction control, and the algorithm were borrowed from the one used to improve grip and performance on a race bike. And this is just an example, but also very recently we launched Ducati wheelie control or the Ducati slide control. Those are all strategies derived from what was used by Ducati Corse in MotoGP, but moved to a slightly different application that was more suited for a production motorcycle. I think that there is time for another question, and then we are more or less finished. So there's one, two.
Hi. My question is, attending, for example, a mechanical engineering master's degree abroad, but not specific about automotive, would how can I say, like, are the chances to be accepted into Ducati not that lower than attending an automotive degree? For example, with courses on structural design or thermal design, but not applied specifically in the master's degree in the automotive sector.
Well, I think that doing an experience abroad is always a good idea, because you will have a chance to improve, for example, some foreign language, and to know some other approach, different approaches to topics that maybe are similar to the one that are used in Italy or not. So I appreciate a lot people that had experience in foreign countries. I don't think that this will be less valued than studying in a dedicated course here in Italy. It's all based on how valuable are the competencies that you gain thanks to this experience. If you end up having a good knowledge, and you will demonstrate that during an interview, you will have for sure the same chances of getting a job than a colleague that didn't have the same experience abroad, but studied in an automotive course.
Hello, I'm Diego Hernandez from Mexico. From the 9 line of products, or 10 now, which has been the most challenging or that presented the highest difficulty for developing?
Well, the off-road application, professional off-road application like Desert X and Desert X Rally, they were challenging because they were kind of new for us. I mean, we have a lot of knowledge on-road application, and moving to off-road, we moved to off-road gradually. I mean, the first off-road, real off-road application was Multistrada Enduro some years ago, but then we are moving to more and more professional usage, let's say. So with this, I mean that we test our motorcycle on real motocross tracks, and therefore we had to adjust the way in which we design frame, chassis, and frame, swing arm, and suspension, and so on, in order to fulfill with the very demanding specification of off-road motorcycles. So those projects were very challenging, but it's hard to say which one was the most challenging, because those were new and they were challenging because they were new. But sport motorcycles like the Panigale, they are really very challenging, because we would like also always to reach lightness, and we have to struggle against the regulations that add weight due to bigger mufflers, bigger catalysts, and so on. So it's a tough fight between the two. Okay. Okay, thank you so much.